The story begins in a town during a heavy downpour. In a dark alleyway, a boy warns a crouched girl that she will catch a cold if she stays there. She pleads with him not to get involved with her. At this moment, he does not realize that this brief encounter will trigger a change in the entire world. The narrative then explains the setting of Kizuyoru. It is a game where the heroine, Fine, discovers she can use holy magic. Despite being a commoner, this rare ability allows her to enroll in a prestigious royal magic academy meant only for royalty and aristocrats. During the game, she builds relationships with various capture targets, eventually defeating the final boss and marrying one of them. The story is famous for its rags to riches theme, but what truly makes it popular is Fine's bad ending route. To trigger this tragic route, she must fail to reach a high affection level with any target. Consequently, her holy magic is condemned as repugnant dark magic. Facing vicious bullying, she is forced to drop out and disappear into the night. Many players consider this depressing scenario the true ending of the game. The main character is Ash Laban, a Japanese man reincarnated into this game world. On the afternoon he turns 10, he looks through maps and reference books to prepare for future dungeon diving. Finding a specific book, he gets excited about exploring dungeons and learning about monsters. He realizes a specific monster's weakness is water, but physical attacks are actually more effective. Suddenly, he questions how he knows this information without reading. At that exact moment, he regains the memories of playing Kizuyoru in his past life. Drawing on these memories, he completely understands his current situation. He discovers he is reborn into the Leben family, the lowest-ranked aristocrats known as baronets. As the second-born son, his position is incredibly low within both the aristocracy and his own family. He is not even a background character. However, he feels fortunate because, not being an heir, he can embrace his freedom. Despite this, there is a major difference from the game. His character, Ash Laban, does not actually exist in the original Kizuyoru story. Furthermore, one significant problem remains for his new life. Ash cannot remember the most important detail, what the heroine looks like. He wonders what route the world is currently following and if Fine even exists. However, after seeing the captured targets at the academy, he is absolutely certain this is the world of Kizuyoru. Later, during a heavy downpour, he takes a shortcut back to his dorm. Along the way, he spots someone crouching in the rain. Recognizing the academy symbol on her attire, he wonders if his classmate is being bullied. He warns her about catching a cold, but she stubbornly refuses his help, claiming she likes sitting there. Feeling frustrated but unable to abandon her, he hands over his coat and leaves his umbrella with her, telling her not to worry about returning them. He then walks away, getting completely drenched. Back in his dorm room, Ash lies in bed, regretting his actions. He knows his immune system is weak despite his physical training. Hoping to recover quietly by taking a day off, he soon realizes he has caught a severe cold. Suddenly, a knock at the door surprises him, as classes should still be ongoing. Staggering to open it, he is shocked to see her. She greets him politely, holding his belongings. When he questions how she found his dorm number, she reveals she found his ID card inside his jacket. She initially considered leaving the items with the guard but decided to deliver them personally upon hearing he was inside. He thanks her but feels his cold worsening. Wanting to protect her from catching his illness, he urges her to leave quickly. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness hits him, and he stumbles. She quickly catches him. He pulls back out of embarrassment, apologizing and downplaying his fever. Ignoring his protests, she insists he rest and helps him back to bed. After sitting beside him, she asks if he has any medicine. When he admits he does not, she asks him to close his eyes, apologizing for any discomfort. As he does, the pain in his throat and his heavy fatigue mysteriously ease. Placing a gentle hand on his forehead, she notes his fever has broken and bids him farewell. Ash wants to repay her for her kindness. She politely declines, insisting that his appreciation is more than enough. Suddenly, her stomach growls loudly, causing her to curl up on the floor in sheer embarrassment. Realizing she is hungry, he quickly invites her to share a meal. She insists on cooking since he is sick, and a short time later, she returns with the prepared food. He takes a bite, finds it delicious, and warmly urges her to eat as well. As she pours a drink, he remembers finding her in the alleyway and wonders what terrible circumstances led her there. After they finish eating, the room grows quiet. He looks over and sees she has fallen asleep sitting up. Relieved that she can finally relax, he decides not to wake her. The next morning, feeling fully recovered, he leaves a note and his room key behind for her before heading out. Later during combat practice, Ash easily defeats 3 opponents in a row. A fellow classmate expresses absolute shock at this performance, knowing about the severe cold from the day before. Ash agrees, admitting he could barely stand yesterday, but he now feels better than ever. Afterward, they head to the cafeteria for lunch. The classmate orders pork cutlet curry, while Ash chooses ramen with onions. During the meal, the other student shares some massive news from the previous day. He reveals that the second prince in game capture target, Aldrich, has officially announced his engagement. This completely shocks Ash. When asked about the girl's identity, the classmate names her as Elise Ringstad. This causes even more internal confusion, as this character absolutely does not exist in the original game. The classmate explains that she is from a baronet family, making interaction between their vastly different social classes almost impossible. He also notes that upper-class students are already bullying her over the sudden engagement. Suddenly, the classmate points across the room, indicating that Aldrich is standing right there in the cafeteria. Aldrich stands with a girl who proudly offers him a box sandwich. He warmly accepts, promising to eat anything she cooks for him. However, observing from a distance, Ash's classmate notices that the box is clearly just from the school cafeteria. Looking for a place to sit, they spot a table occupied by a single student. Ash immediately recognizes her as the person he helped the day before. He suggests they share her table, but before they can approach, an upper-class student angrily confronts her. The attacker mocks her low birth and dares her to attend the Noble Academy. He is a sleeve holder, a term used for upper-rank students who wear special decorations on their uniforms, while they mockingly refer to lower-rank students as sleeveless. The bully aggressively demands she disappear. When she remains completely silent, he furiously draws his sword and raises it to strike. Suddenly, Ash steps in to block the attack, declaring he will not let a lowlife bully her. Enraged, the attacker swings his sword at him, but Ash swiftly dodges every strike and lands a solid punch, knocking the upper-class student to the ground. Brushing himself off, Ash admits he feels incredibly refreshed after the fight. His friend panics over the severe consequences of striking a sleeve holder. Apologizing to his classmate, Ash suddenly scoops her into his arms and flees the cafeteria, leaving his friend shouting that he expects a full explanation tomorrow. Once they are safely away, she asks him to put her down. He apologizes and sets her on her feet. She asks why he went to such extreme lengths to protect her, and he admits he simply could not leave her alone. Realizing their academy uniforms are drawing too much attention in the middle of the day, he suggests they head to a nearby mansion. Upon arriving and opening the door, she is shocked to find the interior completely trashed with junk scattered everywhere. Confused by the mess, she wonders what happened and asks about the whereabouts of the servants. She notes the lack of servants in the mansion, and he admits the massive mess is simply unsorted dungeon loot he was too lazy to put away. Unfazed, she demands cleaning supplies. He points her toward the back room, and after putting on an apron, she insists they clean the house immediately so he does not get sick from the dust. As they work, he feels somewhat responsible for her situation. He also secretly wonders why the sleeve holders despise her so much when she appears to wear a sleeve decoration herself. While she drags a heavy ladder aside, it suddenly tips over toward her. He shouts a warning and quickly pulls her out of harm's way. They check on each other, both apologizing for their inattentiveness. While still holding her, he suddenly points out that her face is completely covered in dust. Embarrassed, she yells at him for not mentioning it sooner. Once the room is finally spotless, she sternly tells him to keep it that way. He tries to change the subject by asking about dinner. Seeing right through his deflection, she sighs and asks to borrow his shower instead. He nervously reminds her that this is a man's house, but she easily brushes off the concern. She jokes that after receiving a princess carry earlier and exposing her dusty face, she is way past the point of worrying. Laughing brightly, she apologizes for teasing him. Her genuine smile leaves him completely mesmerized and triggers a sudden realization. Looking closely at her face, he finally remembers her true identity. She is the game's heroine. Fine. Connecting the dots, he realizes the mysterious power that instantly cured his cold yesterday was her unique holy magic. Furthermore, witnessing the upper-class students treat her so horribly confirms a grim reality. In this timeline, her holy magic is already being condemned as dark magic, meaning the world is currently heading straight for the tragic bad ending. The bad ending route in Kazuyoru differs from those in other Otome games. The credits do not roll immediately upon reaching it. Instead, the player must endure hatred, abuse, and vilification from every character until the common route ends. Deleting progress midway results in losing all unlocked content, items, and status upgrades, forcing players to push through the agony alongside Fine. This brutal design earned the game its reputation as a depressing utshuge. Ash realizes they are currently right in the middle of this painful timeline. Just then, Fine returns and thanks him for letting her use the shower. He tells her not to worry about it, then gently asks to confirm if she is the famous student he has heard about. Realizing he knows her identity, her energy instantly darkens. He quickly explains that during his first year, he heard rumors about a commoner with amazing magical abilities enrolling in the upper-rank aristocracy class. Internally, he knows these rumors stopped almost immediately because the world entered the bad ending route. He apologizes for being insensitive, but she insists she should be the one apologizing for hiding her identity. Regretting his words and hating how forlorn she looks, he smoothly changes the subject, offering her to stay at the mansion for the night since it is late. She gratefully accepts his offer. The next morning, he checks on her room, only to find it completely empty. In her place rests a letter expressing her sincere apologies for hiding her identity, burdening him with her troubles, and crossing him in the details, explaining that she has left right away. Frustrated with himself, he wonders how he failed to predict her actions given the current situation. Disgusted by the cruelty of the bad ending route, he resolves that he no longer wants to see Fine suffer and lose her smile. Determined to change her fate, he rushes out to find her as soon as possible. Observing the courtyard, Ash notices a group of nobles confronting Fine. He recognizes His Highness Aldrich alongside the game's other capture targets. These include Eugene, the son of the crown's bravest general, Recon, a peerless spearman and son of the royal court magician, and David, the finance minister's son and a highly charismatic student business manager. Together, they form the Four Knights of Kizuyoru. Looking closer, Ash spots another woman beside them, whom Aldrich is holding protectively. The group aggressively accuses Fine of threatening Elise and attempting to use wicked magic on them all. They declare they will never approve of someone so vile attending their academy. Fine calmly denies the accusations, but the men furiously call her a liar and insist that people who torment others have no place at the school. Suddenly, Elise intervenes, pleading with the prince and claiming the fault is entirely hers, even calling herself a villainess. Aldrich immediately dismisses this idea, insisting that a kind girl who healed them could never be wicked. Realizing the situation is rapidly escalating, Ash decides to intervene covertly. He discreetly twists his wand, instantly shifting the atmosphere. Just as Aldrich demands a confession, a massive, unnatural rainstorm suddenly pours down. Caught completely off guard by the blinding downpour, the nobles quickly grab Elise and retreat into the school for cover. Amidst the chaotic commotion, Ash swiftly grabs Fine by the hand and leads her away to safety. Once safely inside, he looks out the window, noting the relentless rain. She quietly asks why he saved her again. He simply reminds her that he cannot leave her alone, adding a stern warning that she is currently heading straight toward her own destruction. Ash points out that they need to do something about their soaked clothes. Instead of answering, Fine simply places a hand on his shoulder and activates her magic. Instantly, his wet clothes and hair are completely dry. Surprised, he asks if this is the rumored magic he has heard about. She confirms that it is one of the holy magics, known as blessing, which cleanses the body of impurities, and she is supposedly the only person who can use it. Connecting the dots, he asks if this unique magic is the reason behind her bullying and her connection to Elise. Looking visibly awkward, she hesitates. He gently holds her hand, explaining that to fix their current situation, he needs to know everything that has happened to her so far. Agreeing, she warns him that it is a very long story. She reveals that for as long as she can remember, she has possessed the wondrous power to instantly heal any wound or sickness. She grew up in a frontier orphanage under the care of Mother Hilda, who strictly ordered her to keep the power a secret. She was only allowed to use it with direct permission for severe, untreatable wounds. However, 3 years ago, while picking herbs in the mountains, she encountered a badly wounded man. Breaking her guardian's teachings, she used her magic to save him. Astonished, the man repeatedly asked for her name so he could repay her, but she humbly insisted she only did what anyone else would have done. Intrigued by her, he accompanied her down the mountain. Sometime later, a messenger arrived with an official letter, granting her special permission to enroll in the Royal Magic Academy. Believing this path would allow her to save many more people, she accepted the offer. Unfortunately, as a commoner in an academy exclusively for nobles, she was treated as an outcast. The only student who willingly spoke to her was Elise. They quickly became close, and she eventually trusted Elise enough to reveal the secret of her holy power. Continuing her story, she explains that Elise began taking a strange interest in her activities, eventually controlling all of her decisions. Soon, Elise started spreading vicious rumors that she was using wicked magic. Furthermore, the villain used excessive amounts of potions to heal the injuries of Aldrich and his friends, intentionally taking credit for the healing that her holy magic could have easily fixed. By the time she realized what was happening, it was too late. The fatal blow came during an outdoor combat practice. When she cast defensive unaccustomed to fighting monsters, the nobles reacted with sheer disgust, forbidding her from using her power in front of them again. Sometime later, the nobles aggressively cursed at her and threatened to destroy the orphanage where she grew up if she continued to pretend she was innocent. Despite her desperate pleas, they ordered her to leave the academy immediately. Defeated, she ended up crying in the back alley, which is exactly when he found her. After listening closely, Ash realizes that everything has unfolded exactly like the game. Mother Hilda had tried to avert her fate as the saint destined to fight the demon lord. the injured man on the mountain was actually Crown Prince Elsa's, which set up the main plot of Kizuyoru. He deduces that the only anomaly is Elise. By imitating holy magic with potions and controlling her actions, Elise successfully stole her position. Realizing that Elise has perfect knowledge of the game's events, he concludes she must be a reincarnator. Grateful for his repeated help, Fine thanks him and turns to leave, not wanting to cause him any more trouble. He stops her, asking if she is really content with remaining defeated and running away pathetically. She passionately shouts that she absolutely does not want to run, but she lacks the means to prove her innocence. Seeing the fight still left in her, he confidently promises to help her completely crush her enemies, leaving her utterly amazed. Fine desperately asks what she should do next. Ash confidently tells her to trust him and follow his lead. Begging him to help her win, she secures his promise. He vows to free her from her miserable humiliation. The next day in class, Ash reunites with his friend, Ian, apologizing for his recent absence. Noticing the strange atmosphere in the room, Ash wonders if the other students are deliberately avoiding him. Ian points out that picking a fight with a prominent sleeve holder makes him an obvious target for gossip. Changing the subject, Ian mentions that yesterday's classes were cancelled entirely. A sudden, freak downpour. Hearing this, Ash secretly notes that no one realized he was the one who caused the storm. He is relieved he left Fine safely at the mansion today, deciding it was the right call so he could gather information alone. Seeking a lead, Ash asks if Elise spends every day in the courtyard. Ian confirms this, explaining that she spends her time flirting with a different member of the four knights on a daily rotation, essentially maintaining a simultaneous engagement with all of them. This revelation causes everything to click into place for Ash. In Kizuyoru, there is a special reverse harem route where the player can get engaged to all four capture targets at the same time. Realizing she is clearly pursuing this exact route leaves no doubt that she possesses deep knowledge of the game. Now, his only remaining task is to confirm whether she is truly a reincarnator. Learning from Ian that she visits the school bakery before noon, Ash immediately heads there to intercept her. He spots her looking through the store's supplies, complaining to herself about the lack of variety since Eugene already ate the egg sandwich. Stepping up to her, he politely asks if she is Elise, which she confidently confirms. Ash casually approaches Elise, congratulating her on her engagement to the second prince. She smiles, expressing fake happiness that someone like him would offer congratulations. She then subtly mentions the sudden heavy rain from the day before, suspiciously wondering if it was meant to celebrate her engagement. Realizing she is onto him, Ash apologizes, claiming his magic simply went out of control during practice, and that he never meant to hurt anyone. Elise coldly dismisses his excuse, stating that it looked more like he was protecting that piece of trash. Feigning ignorance, Ash praises her as the ultimate hope for the sleeveless lower-rank students since she managed to get engaged to His Highness Alderic. Springing his trap, he tells her that people are calling her a modern-day Cinderella or Princess Kaguya. She expresses delight at being called such titles. Ash then asks how she managed to get so close to the prince. She cryptically replies that someone kindly showed her an example beforehand. When he presses her for details, she arrogantly dismisses him, claiming someone like him would not understand. Changing the subject, he asks if she is still enduring bullying from the commoner, Fine. Elise suddenly covers her face in fake frustration, dramatically complaining about how painful it has been. She claims Fine spread malicious rumors and destroyed her belongings out of pure jealousy over her relationship with the prince. Ash sympathetically agrees that it must be difficult. Elise quickly brightens, stating she is perfectly fine now because Aldrich consulted the headmaster. She smugly reveals that Fine will receive an official expulsion notice tomorrow and be forced to leave the academy. Acting relieved for her, Ash apologizes for taking up her time and wishes her romance well. As they part ways, he internally confirms his suspicions. There is absolutely no doubt. Elise is a reincarnator. The stories of Cinderella and Princess Kaguya do not exist in this world, yet she recognized and accepted the names immediately. Furthermore, the example she mentioned for getting close to the prince clearly refers to the original main plot of Kizuyoru. Having gathered all the necessary intelligence, Ash resolves that the only thing left to do now is fight. The next day at the mansion, Fine loudly reacts in shock to Elise's attempt to force her expulsion. Ash explains his plan. They will officially claim the expulsion notice is based on slander and prove her innocence through a formal duel. He explains that in this country, unjust decisions can be overturned through combat. Strength is highly valued above all else, meaning even royalty loses their dignity if they refuse a formally issued challenge. Fine expresses deep concern, noting that their opponents are highly skilled professionals. However, Ash assures her that she will not be fighting alone, though he warns he will make her train harder than she can imagine. When he asks if she has the resolve for this, she firmly agrees to do whatever it takes to help. Satisfied, he declares they will execute their plan the next morning. The following day at the academy, the four capture targets confront Fine once again. Bystanders hurl insults, mocking her as hopeless and a problem. Eugene steps forward to silence the crowd. He officially reads the expulsion notice, accusing her of endangering students with wicked magic and repeatedly harassing Elise with malicious rumors. Due to these charges, he declares her immediately expelled. She calmly verifies that these fabricated claims are the official reasons for her expulsion. When they confirm it, she loudly declares the accusations to be malicious slander. To prove her innocence, she officially challenges the prince to a duel. The group laughs mockingly, questioning how she could possibly defeat the academy's top students, even with her supposed wicked magic. Suddenly, Ash steps forward, declaring he will partner up with Fine. When the group asks who he is, he introduces himself as the second son of the Leben family. Unfamiliar with the name, they question his background. He casually admits they are bottom-tier nobles and confirms he fully understands the severe consequences of interfering in this duel. Nearby, Elise bites her lip in clear, simmering frustration. The group declares the duel will be 4 against 2 and asks if he accepts the uneven terms. He agrees, but mockingly asks if 4 people are really enough, boldly suggesting that Elise join the fight as well. Outraged, Aldrich angrily shouts that they will never let her face such lowly opponents. Ignoring the prince's outrage, Ash calmly lays out his strict demands for winning the duel. The complete retraction of the expulsion notice and false rumors, a formal apology to Fine, and a sworn promise to never harm her or her associates ever again. Aldrich disgustedly declares that he does not even want someone like Ash crossing his path. He counters with his own extreme demand. If the nobles win, both Ash and Fine will be mercilessly expelled from the country. Unfazed, Ash casually agrees to settle the dispute under those exact conditions. Aldrich mocks his confidence, reminding him of the severe consequences of losing. Ash then turns to Fine to confirm she is prepared for this massive risk. She firmly agrees, stating she has absolutely no intention of losing now that she has finally made it this far. Nearby, Elise grinds her teeth and bites her lip in obvious, simmering frustration. Acting magnanimous, Aldrich offers them one final act of mercy. They are allowed to choose the date of the duel. As the match is about to begin, Aldrich arrogantly declares that he will bring the hammer of justice down upon them, dedicating their upcoming victory to Elise, who proudly watches the event from the stands above. Standing alongside Fine, Ash confidently retorts that with her by his side, they are clearly the ones destined to win. The referee then officially starts the match. Ash tells Fine he is counting on her, and she firmly agrees. Enraged, Recon shouts that he will beat the smugness out of him and viciously lunges forward with his sharp spear. Reacting instantly, Fine casts a light barrier around them. Unable to pierce the shield, Recon repeatedly strikes the barrier with his weapon until a small crack finally forms. Seeing the weakness, he frantically focuses his attacks on that exact spot. Coordinating their timing, Ash signals Fine to drop the blessing. As the barrier dissolves, Ash catches Recon completely off guard, grabs the staff of his spear, and violently swings him to the side. Ash then snaps the weapon in half and tosses it away, leaving Recon to cry out in despair over his broken gay bolg. Before another attack can connect, Eugene rushes in with a dagger. Fine quickly casts the barrier again, and the forceful impact of the dagger hitting the shield heavily pushes the attacker back. Thanking her for the save, Ash urgently asks for an attack buff. She successfully casts the enhancement and immediately drops the defensive barrier. Declaring his opponent wide open, Ash lands a devastating punch squarely on Eugene's chest. Internally, Ash marvels at their success, noting that the results are far beyond what he initially imagined. He realizes that all their recent special training in the dungeon has truly paid off. Not only did he use stockpiled rare items to efficiently level up in a short amount of time, but he also managed to drastically increase Fine's utility and combat experience. Ash notes that with Fine performing so well, defeating the remaining opponents should be easy. Suddenly, a massive stone golem forms on the battlefield. David stands triumphantly on its shoulder, cursing at Ash and declaring himself the next opponent. The golem swings its giant fist, but Ash swiftly dodges. Immediately after, Recon launches a deadly fireball at him. Dodging again, Ash realizes that avoiding the golem's physical strikes while simultaneously dealing with Recon's magic is a highly troublesome combination. Fine urgently asks if he can disable the golem and drag David down to the ground. Ash confidently agrees to handle it to support her. The narrative then shifts to a tragic legend from the game's lore. A hero named Aaron falls to his knees with a broken sword. The first Saint of Light, Claire, rushes to his side, ignoring his pleas for her to stay back. She warmly tells him that she was truly happy just being by his side. Pulling out a magical crystal, she ignores the desperate cries of everyone around her and sacrifices her own life to protect the world they loved. In the lore of Kazuyoru, Claire uses a divine relic to transform herself into a weapon, becoming the Holy Sword Claire. While this strategy allows players to defeat the final boss, it is deliberately designed to crush them emotionally, proving the developers truly wanted to create a depressing Achi experience. Furthermore, only a direct descendant of the first hero can wield this holy blade. Back in the present, Aldrich smugly brandishes that exact same weapon. He boasts to his opponents, proudly showing off the legendary holy sword Claire passed down through the royal family. Seeing this, Ash realizes with horror that the tragic history of Aaron and Claire actually happened in this reality. He becomes utterly furious that the arrogant prince treats Claire's noble sacrifice as nothing more than a convenient tool, completely disregarding her honor and will. Filled with resolve, Ash urgently asks Fine to cast every single defensive and support buff she has on him, to which she immediately agrees. Following Ash's request, Fine casts all her supportive buffs on him. Aldrich immediately mocks him, claiming that whatever he tries will not do any good against the Holy Sword. Elise arrogantly agrees, insisting that no one can stand against such a weapon. In response, Ash simply throws his own weapon to the ground. Assuming he is scared and giving up, Aldrich cruelly declares that it is too late for forgiveness. The prince raises the legendary sword and swings it down, but to everyone's absolute shock, Ash easily catches the holy blade with his bare hand. With a terrifyingly dark expression, Ash curses the prince and delivers a brutal punch to his stomach, followed by a devastating blow to his mouth that shatters his teeth. Completely losing his temper, he pins him down and beats him mercilessly. The onlookers watch in disbelief as the prince is overwhelmingly crushed. Suddenly, Fine steps in and gently grabs Ash's hand, begging him to stop. She reminds him that the match is already settled, and admits she does not want to see his hands covered in blood. Snapping out of his rage, he apologizes for letting his anger take over and thanks her for stopping him. He then calmly takes the holy sword and hands it over to the referee. Seeing that Aldrich is completely incapacitated, the referee officially declares Fine and Ash the absolute winners of the duel. After the match, she uses a healing blessing called Cure Connect to heal his battered hands, softly pleading with him to never hurt himself like that again. He promises he will not. Noticing the severe condition of the four defeated nobles, she extends her magic, creating a cure field around them. Surprised, he asks if she is sure about healing the people who treated her so horribly. She firmly replies that while their actions are unforgivable, she simply cannot ignore people who are hurt. As he slowly regains consciousness from the healing, Aldrich mutters in disbelief, stubbornly refusing to accept that they lost the match so one-sidedly. Furious at his defeat, Aldrich aggressively accuses his opponents of being cheating monsters. Suddenly, another noble arrives and pulls Elise away, sternly telling Aldrich that he is embarrassing himself. Aldrich shockingly addresses the newcomer as his brother. The noble, Prince Elsa's, bows down and formally apologizes for his foolish younger brother's disgraceful conduct. He promises that Aldrich will be immediately confined and officially punished at a later date. A stunning declaration that leaves the onlookers completely amazed. Ash asks Fine how she wants to handle the situation. Addressing the older prince, she asks two questions. First, she asks if there is any chance Ash will be punished for his actions during the duel. Elsa assures her that since Ash recovered the royal family's holy sword, he will personally protect him from any consequences. Satisfied, Ash formally accepts the prince's apology. For her second question, she asks if she and the prince have met somewhere before. Elsa firmly denies this, stating that today is their very first meeting. Hearing this, Ash is deeply confused. According to the game's lore, Elsa should have been the one who permitted Fine's enrollment into the academy. Apologizing for taking up their time, Fine drops the subject. Elsa then turns his attention back to Aldrich and Elise, demanding to know how they learned the secret location of the Holy Sword and how they managed to steal it. He orders them to explain everything in detail to the knights. With the situation resolved, Ash and Fine quickly leave the academy. Upon returning to the mansion, they both express their sheer exhaustion. Ash asks Fine why she asked Elsa's about meeting before. She explains that the prince felt somewhat similar to the injured man she once saved on the mountain, though she assumes it was just her imagination, because Elsa's felt frighteningly detached from the world. Internally, Ash realizes that if both of them genuinely believe this is their first meeting, then the foundational lore of the game's story is already falling apart. Fine then asks what he plans to do if she returns to the academy dorms. Deciding to stay close, he tells her he will simply commute to the academy from the mansion for a while. Back at the mansion, Ash admits he caused far too much trouble. Fine asks if he can even properly clean the place himself. He explains that nobles do not usually clean their own houses and normally rely on a caretaker, but she quickly points out that his mansion currently lacks one. She then happily proposes that she become his caretaker so they can live together. He is completely amazed. worrying she would hate living with someone like him. She firmly denies this, reminding him of everything he has done for her. Internally, Ash recalls a game event where Fine lived with a romance target. Realizing her upbringing in an orphanage makes her accustomed to taking care of others. He agrees to the arrangement but strictly insists on paying her a salary. Although she feels a free place to stay is reward enough, he makes the salary his absolute minimum condition. They shake hands, officially settling the negotiation to live together until things calm down. Meanwhile, at the royal palace, the parents of Alderic kneel before His Majesty. They beg for forgiveness, offering their own lives to atone for their foolish son's deeds. The king declares that the royal family must also bear responsibility for the sin and asks incident should be resolved. Prince Elsa's steps forward, stating that the gravest sins belong to his younger brother and Elise for maliciously ensnaring him. Because they abused royal privileges and misused a sacred treasure, he notes that execution would not be unwarranted. However, he quickly shifts the topic, asking the king how they should reward those who safely recovered the holy sword. When the king asks for his opinion, Elsa smiles and suggests awarding Fine with the hero medal. As for Ash, he argues it would be a massive waste for someone with achievements of this caliber to eventually become a commoner, simply because he is the second son of a quasi-baron household. Therefore, Elsa's proposes allowing Ash to inherit a court noble house, elevating him to a viscount as that specific household currently has no heir. In the royal court, an official questions the unprecedented move of making the underage second son of a quasi-baron into a viscount. The king clarifies that no law forbids it, but notes that such a major promotion requires strong political supporters. Stepping forward, the fathers of the other capture targets, the general and the finance minister, gladly offer their full political backing to Ash. By demonstrating their absolute loyalty to the crown and atoning for their son's involvement, they successfully convince the king to limit the punishment of the other 3 students to a severe reprimand. The king then asks Elsa's for his thoughts regarding the punishment of his foolish brother, Aldrich, and his accomplice, Elise. Elsa suggests that forcing them to publicly apologize to Ash and Fine in the Academy's Grand Hall would suffice. The king understands the suggestion but firmly asserts that the final judgment remains his to make, prompting the entire court to respectfully bow to his will. Later, in his private office, a female subordinate asks Elsa's if he is truly satisfied with the outcome. He explains that Ash possesses abnormal abilities and Fine has officially awakened as the Saint of Light. He firmly believes that for the country to survive a century into the future, it must constantly face and overcome powerful external pressures. The subordinate suspects he already knows the truth about Ash, but he dismisses it as mere speculation until he obtains absolute certainty. He reiterates that gaining the strength to repel external threats is the only way to secure the kingdom's future, even if his own body must decay to serve as the foundation. Left alone, he quietly mutters to himself, eagerly wondering what kind of future the Saint of Light and the irregular Ash will show him next. The next morning at the mansion, Fine wakes Ash up. After getting ready, he heads out first, leaving her behind to finish the laundry. Knowing it would cause a massive uproar if people found out the 2 students at the center of the recent duel were living together, they strategically decide to commute to the academy at different times. Upon arriving at the academy, his friend Ian jokingly greets him as Lord Ravager. Ash groans, asking him not to use that terrible title. Ian playfully points out that after completely crushing the 4 knights, ending up with a heck of a nickname is inevitable. Despite the teasing, Ash expresses genuine relief that his friend is still talking to him normally. Ian smiles, reassuring him that they have known each other for a long time and he knows Ash is not the terrible person the academy rumors make him out to be. Deeply moved, Ash calls him a great guy and goes in for a hug, but Ian laughingly pushes him away, joking that he does not swing that way. Suddenly, a female student approaches and informs Ash that the headmaster has requested his presence. Ian wonders if he is getting scolded for the duel, but Ash heavily doubts it, recalling the promise made by Prince Elsa's. He heads to the office and knocks. Upon entering, he is surprised to find Fine is already there. The headmaster warmly welcomes them, assuring them it is not bad news. First, he deeply apologizes to Fine for allowing the malicious slander and rumors directed at her to go ignored for so long. She kindly asks him to raise his head, stating that simply being allowed to remain at the academy is enough for her. Relieved, the headmaster then turns to Ash, handing him a letter graciously entrusted by His Majesty the King. Ash takes it with a growing sense of dread, internally feeling this will be highly troublesome. With the deliveries complete, the headmaster dismisses them. Later that evening, while eating dinner back at the mansion, Fine asks about the contents of the king's letter. Ash reveals that she is officially being awarded the hero medal, while he is being elevated to the noble rank of viscount. Shocked and excited, she suggests they celebrate, but he quickly shuts the idea down. He explains that this massive promotion was sent as a strict condition for settling the incident quietly, noting that social ranks in their country almost never rise so abruptly. Continuing their dinner conversation, Ash explains the harsh reality of his family's status. Despite being nobles, his family is merely a poor quasi-barren household that does not even have a ranch house. As a second son, he was originally destined to become a commoner unless he married into another noble family. He realizes that this sudden ennoblement to Viscount is a special exception meant to secure his future, given entirely on the condition that they keep quiet about the duel. Seeing him look so down, Fine understands the heavy political message behind the reward. However, he encourages her to be genuinely happy about receiving the Hero Medal, noting it is a massive honor for a commoner and comes with an annual stipend. He then reveals that their formal awards and ennoblement will take place alongside the Academy's award ceremony for the top comprehensive exam students. To avoid drawing negative attention to themselves, he suggests it would be best if they rank highly on the upcoming exams. Curious, he asks about her usual test rankings. She hesitates, asking him to wait before reluctantly bringing out her report card. Looking at it, he realizes she is at the lower middle rank at best, internally thanking the gods that the Academy does not have a retention system to hold students back. The comprehensive exam consists of written, swordsmanship, and magic practical tests. Considering Elise actively interfered with her practical events in the past, her scores there are actually decent. The real issue is the written exam. By his past life standards, her scores are complete failing grades. Without hesitation, he declares they will start studying right away. Though she clearly dislikes the idea of studying, she reluctantly agrees. Sometime later, the written exam results are finally posted on the Academy boards. Nearby, a frustrated student complains that despite all their effort, the incredibly high results cannot be real. Meanwhile, Ash reviews his own report card, pleased to see his scores are higher than the previous year. He realizes that teaching someone else actually helped improve his own grades. Suddenly, he overhears other students gossiping about an unprecedented first-year student who apparently achieved perfect scores in every single written subject. Stunned by the rumor, Ash wonders who this mysterious genius could possibly be. Ash notes that getting a perfect score in every written subject is extremely difficult without past life knowledge. Suspecting the mysterious first-year student might also be a reincarnator, Fine then approaches him, excitedly showing off her report card. He is deeply impressed to see her grades are drastically better than before. While she credits their study sessions, he praises her hard work and naturally good memory. Since his own grades also improved thanks to their studying, he offers her a reward. Surprisingly, she requests to replace all of their worn-out cooking utensils. Later, they go shopping to buy the new items. While Ash carries all the heavy bags, Fine questions if their current scores are truly enough to place them in the top ranks. He reassures her, confidently stating that their high performance in the swordsmanship and magic practicals will easily secure their positions, especially since they previously defeated the Four Knights. Pausing for a moment, he praises her dependability, admitting he would have gone completely bankrupt at the general store without her guidance. She playfully warns him to be more careful with his spending. He then casually remarks that she is very much like a wife, noting that she is attentive, capable, and good at everything. He adds that whoever marries her will be incredibly happy. Internally, he reflects on how Prince Aldrich and the other nobles let someone so incredible slip away. Surprised by the sudden wife comparison, she becomes momentarily flustered. Misinterpreting her reaction as sadness, he quickly apologizes for speaking without thinking. She hurriedly assures him that she is not upset at all and tells him not to worry about it. As they continue walking, they overhear two merchants discussing severe political turmoil in a neighboring republic. The men mention that revolutionaries recently overthrew the monarchy, but new factions keep emerging, making the area far too dangerous for travel. Listening in, Ash realizes this southern republic was barely covered in the original Kizuyoru game, meaning he knows very little about the situation. Meanwhile, Fine walks quietly beside him, still secretly blushing over being called a wife. Later at the school arena, the announcer calls the next number, 43, belonging to Ash Laban. Ash steps forward confidently. The magic and swordsmanship practical exams are conducted jointly across all grades later in the year, with numbers assigned completely at random. The examiner instructs him to cast his specialty magic at the monster-type target. Ash agrees. Holding his wand, he notes that the exam requires the use of standard wands loaned by the Academy to properly measure a student's base ability. Scoring is out of 100 points, based on factors such as magical power, precision, and casting speed. Deciding to stir up the sky a bit, he channels fire, water, and wind magic. As he raises his wand, the sky suddenly turns pitch black, causing terrified onlookers to pray for their safety. Ash internally notes that with clouds this size, the spell is only reaching about 30% of its full power. though it would be bad to cause any more of a scene than this. He points his wand at the dummy, and a massive electrical shockwave strikes the target directly from the dark sky. Silence falls over the arena. Watching the event, the headmaster immediately orders the target to be replaced. When a female instructor asks why, he points out that the dummy is now completely unusable. As Ash lightly touches the target, it instantly crumbles into dust. The instructor stares in disbelief, noting that the target was protected by a magical barrier capable of withstanding several court magicians working together, yet it was effortlessly obliterated. The headmaster awards Ash perfect marks, astounded that he could cast such a massive spell using only 3 attributes. Stating that there has never been a caster like him before, the headmaster asks if he would consider becoming a court sorcerer after graduation. Ash chuckles and politely replies that he will think about it. Returning to his seat, Ash considers this the expected result and assumes he should rank near the top of his class now. The announcer then calls number 54, signaling Fine's turn. She walks forward, elegantly moving her wand to form multiple light portals around the stand. Volleys of magical attacks shoot from the portals, directly striking the dummy. The examiners enthusiastically award her 95 points. The onlookers watch in awe, muttering that they have never seen light magic used like that before and wondering what on earth is happening with the students this year. Smiling proudly, Ash thinks about how all he did was help her level up. The excellent technique on display is the result of Fine's own hard work. Suddenly, someone points toward the practice ground, drawing the crowd's attention to another girl who has completely pierced her own target. The crowd's attention quickly shifts to another target dummy, which is suddenly pierced by several icy crystals. Ash observes the sharp attack, deeply impressed by the use of water and ice magic at such a high speed. Most importantly, he notices the caster perform the spell completely without a wand. Normally, standard 5-element magic cannot be properly executed wandless, as the tool assists with every aspect of spellcasting. Even Fine deliberately used hers during the exam. Recognizing her extraordinary degree of magical control, Ash learns her name is Sarasa. The examiners award her an impressive 90 points. Bystanders whisper excitedly about the rumored first-year student, wondering what noble house she comes from and marveling at her insane scores in both the written and practical exams. Hearing this, Ash highly suspects she might also be a reincarnator. In the afternoon, the swordsmanship practical exam begins. The test consists of one-on-one combat against a sparring goblin, with victory decided and graded when either side's barrier or weapon is destroyed, a weapon is dropped, or a combatant surrenders. As Ian steps up to face the metallic goblin, Fine rejoins Ash, congratulating him on his earlier performance before asking about their upcoming exam numbers. She mentions passing by Ian earlier and noting how deeply troubled he looked. Ash explains that Ian's family situation is highly complicated. The Moore family is currently on the verge of being taken over by an elder from a branch family, who is also trying to forcefully marry Ian's 10-year-old little sister. Because of this dark reality, Ian had previously begged Ash to train him in magic, so he could become a promising student and protect his sibling. Fine sympathizes, acknowledging that his hard work clearly paid off during the magic practical. Confident in his friend, Ash assures her that Ian will be perfectly fine. True to his word, Ian swiftly defeats the goblin and earns a solid 82 points. The announcer then calls number 315. Sarasa steps forward for her turn. Unfazed by the whispering crowd, she coldly states there is no need to make such a fuss and approaches the arena to face her opponent. When Sarasa goes forward for her swordsmanship exam, she simply holds the sword for a moment before putting it down and declaring her surrender. She claims she cannot carry anything heavier than a pen. The examiner asks if she is serious. She confirms, stating she came to the academy exclusively to study magic and that a sword evaluation does nothing for her. With that, she turns around and leaves. Ash wonders what she is thinking, deciding it is best to stay cautious around her. Fine suggests they get going, and Ash agrees. As they start moving, Sarasa suddenly blocks Ash's path, addressing him by his full name. He looks around for her until she tells him to look down, revealing her incredibly short stature. He greets her, apologizing for being caught off guard. Ignoring his apology, she interrogates him about his earlier spell. She notes that artificially creating a gigantic thundercloud to unleash a colossal lightning strike is a completely new form of magic not covered by current theory. She deduces that it cannot be replicated simply by combining attributes and feels it would be impossible without perfectly visualizing both the phenomenon and its result. She demands to know what inspired the spell and who his teacher is. To meet her eye level, Ash bends down, struggling to formulate an answer. Suddenly, Fine steps between them, politely excusing themselves to head to their exam and asking Sarasa to save her questions for later. Sarasa recognizes Fine and admits she is interested in her light magic as well, but insists she prefers getting answers to her questions immediately. Fine firmly replies that her curiosity does not justify obstructing them. Realizing it is difficult to argue, Sarasa reluctantly withdraws for now. Fine apologizes to Ash for butting in, but he gratefully thanks her for saving him from the interrogation. Later, it is Ash's turn for the swordsmanship practical. Standing before the metallic sparring goblin, he contemplates his approach, ultimately deciding to swing his sword with full force just to see what happens. He charges at the goblin and slashes downward, assuming the creature will easily dodge. Instead, the goblin screeches before suddenly bursting into a million pieces. Ash is stunned, hoping the complete destruction of the target will not force a retest. The onlookers and judges are equally shocked. One judge wonders if it was a maintenance error, but another firmly denies it. The second judge explains that Ash unquestionably destroyed the golem head-on using nothing but the sheer air pressure from his sword swing. The judges marvel that he accomplished such a feat at his age, calling him a true sword saint. After a brief delay, the examiners announce the results. Ashlaban receives an astonishing 99 points. Stunned, Ash thinks to himself that such a near-perfect score is completely beyond his expectations. Back at the mansion, Ash, Ian, and Fine throw a small party to celebrate. Ash proposes a toast since everyone achieved such excellent results. In the comprehensive exam, Ash placed first overall. Fine placed second after scoring 93 points in the swordsmanship practical with an impressive performance, and Ian ranked fourth with high scores across the board. Since all of them ranked high enough, they have officially been invited to the upcoming award ceremony. Fine tells Ash that he is seriously amazing, and Ian admits he did not expect him to go this far. The three of them share a warm laugh. Changing the subject, Ian asks Ash what he plans to wear for the formal ceremony. Ash replies that he will just wear his older brother's old tailcoat from the entrance ceremony. Ian notes that is one advantage of having a sibling. Though tailcoats are a pain to wear, Ash agrees but points out they do not have a choice. Because the king usually hosts the ceremony for top-ranking students, there is a strict, unspoken dress code. Although Crown Prince Elsa's is hosting it this time for some reason, it does not make the event any less formal. Confused, Fine asks if their standard academy uniforms will not be enough. Ash explains that since it is a royal-hosted event with a dance party at the end, formal wear is absolutely mandatory. Realizing the problem, Ian asks Fine if she even owns a dress, which she admits she does not. Internally, Ash recalls that this exact scenario triggers a dress shopping event in the game, where Fine would normally go shopping with whichever capture target had the highest affection rating. Since the Hero Medal ceremony is also taking place right after the awards, there is no way she can attend in her uniform. Without hesitation, Ash declares that first thing tomorrow morning, they are going shopping for her dress, a sudden statement that leaves her completely shocked.
Here I am, know it's been